Hey guys, there's so much going on in the news right now, it's hard to keep up. First, we're gonna talk about why the internet is comparing Meghan Markle to Yoko Ono, why Ben Affleck is working at Dunkin Donuts now, and the seriously messed up thing that happened to Logan Paul's pet pig. First off, France's former First Lady Carla Bruni caused a massive stir online after she posted an edited photo of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle that was taken in 2018 ahead of their royal wedding. But Carla made it clear that she wasn't a fan of the Duchess, because with a little bit of bad Photoshop, she replaced Meghan's face with Yoko Ono's, and captioned the post with, "All you need is love." Carla's joke is obviously comparing Meghan's relationship with Harry to Yoko Ono's involvement in John Lennon's life. And by involvement, I mean the supposed role that she had in breaking up the Beatles, even though that theory is just a theory because it's been debunked time and time again, including by the Beatles themselves. What Carla was saying when she posted that photo is that Meghan was responsible for breaking up the brotherly bond between Prince William and her husband, Prince Harry. The internet seemed to be pretty divided on the meme. A lot of people found it hilarious, while others thought it was straight up offensive. Political commentator Amisha Cross tweeted, "I historically gave Carla Bruni a lot more credit. It wasn't deserved. When people give the opportunity to clown, most white women will take it. In the same way Yoko had nothing to do with the Beatles separating, hell, all groups disband at some point. Meg has zero to do with Harry's choice." Another user wrote, "No, not funny. Why would you post something so insensitive? Seriously, why are you condoning racism and supporting hateful rhetoric?" If anything, a lot of people pointed to the post as an example that Harry and Meghan were being truthful about how much hate they were getting, and it criticized Carla's post as racist for comparing the two women of color and their supposed influence over their white husbands, who are often painted as completely blameless. But interestingly enough, this is not even the first time the two women have been compared. When the trailer for Harry and Meghan's Netflix documentary came out, the couple were accused of meticulously using their own photos as a way to compare themselves to John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Commentators claim there were some very real similarities in the black and white images of the Sussexes and the historic images of Lennon and his wife. In fact, the trailer opens up with a collection of personal snaps and photographs of Harry and Meghan during the early days of their romance. Rachel Campos, the co-host of Fox and Friends, took aim at Meghan and said, "When I saw the trailer, it was so highly produced. She's such a marketing genius for herself. Look at these photos. She's very meticulously comparing herself to John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Look at the similarity." But even if you don't think there's any correlation between the two women, there's certainly something to be said about the way they've both been blamed for the downfall of their respective partners. With the release of Harry's bombshell new memoir Spare, some have questioned Meghan's role in his continuing war of words against the royal family and the media, but especially his brother William. There's no other way to put it, the book features bombshell revelations about the royal family, and a lot of the revelations about William can be seen as a personal attack. In one part of the book, Harry describes the moment he returned to the UK for his grandfather Prince Philip's funeral. He described his brother's face as having a familiar scowl, and mentioned his baldness, writing that it was alarming and more advanced than his own. He also thought William's resemblance to their mother Diana had faded, so for whatever reason he felt the need to include some very personal opinions on William's appearance. During his Good Morning America interview, he spoke about calling his older brother his arch nemesis, and said, "There has always been this competition between us, weirdly. I think it plays into, or was played by, the heir/spare," referring to William's role as future king and his own role as a second son, aka the spare. Despite excerpts being leaked ahead of its release, Spare has maintained interest and is still at the top of many bestseller charts. On the 10th of January, the memoir was ranked #1 on Barnes & Noble's top 100 book bestsellers list. A report from The Guardian also estimated that it would be among the biggest pre-order titles of the last decade. So obviously people are interested in what Harry has to say, but at the same time the release of the book has only amped up criticism against Meghan. Moving on, what is Ben Affleck doing working at Dunkin Donuts? On Monday, the 50-year-old actor was spotted dressed in the full employee uniform while taking orders at one of the store's locations in Boston. Sporting the classic brown employee t-shirt, a matching visor, and a drive-through headset, apparently he was filming a commercial, which is such a shame because that dashes everyone's hopes and dreams of going through the Dunkin Donuts drive-through and being served by Ben Affleck. An inside source spoke to Entertainment Tonight and said, "Ben is heavily involved in the commercial, as he pitched the script, is directing and starring in it. Ben has loved Dunkin for years and his partnership couldn't be more perfect. He's been very hands-on with the whole process and is excited for everyone to see." Well, that's a fact. Think about it. He's basically always been an ambassador for them as he's been working off the clock. Time and time again he's been seen walking around LA holding a bag of Dunkin Donuts. So clearly it was just a matter of time before a collab came around. Apparently though, Ben was was put to work for real while filming the commercial. How do we know this? Well, there was one lucky customer, Lisa McKay, who pulled up to the Dunkin's in Medford, Massachusetts, told Entertainment Tonight Ben Affleck was filming a Dunkin's commercial yesterday. I was surprised and nervous when I saw him. He took my order and I handed him a $10 note and he threw it right back at me and handed me my iced coffee. He was super nice, very funny and handsome. Of course, I didn't see J-Lo, but I heard she was inside. One fan managed to capture a video of the whole thing, and even though it's deleted now, you can actually see Ben and J-Lo together at the Dunkin' store, just as filming wraps up and the crew celebrates the end of his shift. In the clip, J-Lo sips a drink as she joins her husband behind the counter, while he thanks the crew and jokes about his place on the employee wall. As I mentioned before, the partnership comes as no surprise. We know that Ben loves Dunkin's, and of course photos of him collecting the food went viral. There was one of him holding an iced coffee and taking a long sigh, which has gone on to become one of the internet's most circulated pictures. Not to mention the time in 2019 when he gushed about his favorite chain finally making its way to LA, and he literally made it his mission to get the word out. He said, "I have Dunkin Donuts every day. It's very weird, I have it every day and people are always like, where is that? Is that near here?" So I feel like I'm spreading the word. So there you have it. It's good to see that Ben is finally getting some kind of sponsorship deal out of all of this. You really gotta love his enthusiasm though. In August last year, Ben and J-Lo took a post-wedding trip to the coffee chain in California, where they posted pictures of them kissing while he held a bag of Dunkin Donuts in one hand. The commercial is actually set to be their first on-screen collaboration since they were in the movie Jersey Girl together 20 years ago. And lastly, what on earth has Logan done to his pet pig? The disgraced YouTube influencer turned amateur boxer turned NFT publisher / criminal has once again become universally loathed. So what has he done now? In a nutshell, this is essentially a horrific case of animal cruelty. The backlash started on Monday when an animal sanctuary called Gentle Barn released a TikTok revealing that they had rescued Logan's former pig from the wild. And get this, the teacup pig named Pearl was reportedly found alone in a field beside another dead pig when the group discovered her. Her ears were mangled and she was apparently suffering from a potentially life-threatening uterus infection. And Logan Paul, as usual, feigned ignorance about a situation which he might have created, and he made a big show about thanking the organization for rescuing her. TMZ obtained the email that he sent to them, which read, "It was just brought to my attention that a pig I owned nearly 2 years ago, Pearl, was rescued and rehomed by your organization. With every ounce of gratitude I have, thank you." The email went on to say that Pearl lived happily at his home for 2 years, but he had to rehome her to a horse ranch in Santa Clarita when he moved to Puerto Rico in 2020. Apparently Pearl only lived there for 10 months before being rehomed again to the farm across the street. Now, if you think Logan did nothing wrong here, you need to take a closer look. The animal sanctuary put him on blast and explained that his pet pig was irresponsibly rehomed, and as a result she ended up abandoned and scared. They went on to describe the incident as part of a larger pattern of clout-chasing internet celebrities buying mini pigs, also known as teacup pigs, because they think that they will remain small and make for good content. But when they inevitably grow very large, more often than not they get discarded. If anything, this situation just highlights the ethics of these influencers using their animals for content and then mistreating them behind the scenes, like YouTuber Brooke Houts, who sparked outrage across the internet in 2019 when she accidentally uploaded unedited footage of herself hitting and spitting on her pet dog. She received so much backlash that she was even investigated by the LAPD's Animal Cruelty Task Force. As for Logan Paul, fans were all too quick to pull up his 2020 tweet about adopting Pearl, which made it seem like he did choose to abandon her when she got too big. He tweeted out a photo of her and wrote, "I bought Pearl a year ago. I was told she was a mini pig. She is not." An account called Deaf Noodles then retweeted the post and called the incident disgusting, and that account was subsequently blocked by Logan Paul. But he was not able to stop all the criticism entirely. One user tweeted all his resources and he couldn't give her to a rescue farm and donate a nice chunk to them as thanks for looking after her. Another person wrote, "Is anyone surprised? Logan Paul doesn't recognize the real world. Everything he encounters is just an opportunity for content, living or dead." But to be fair, a lot of people did come to his defense as well. One user tweeted, "If it's true that she was rehomed multiple times, this isn't on him. I don't care for Logan, but pinning animal cruelty on a pet he owned 2 to 3 years ago isn't okay either." And some fans made the case that what happened to Pearl wasn't his fault because he gave her to someone that was supposed to be credible, and they rehomed her again without his knowledge. Which is a fair point, but it doesn't change the fact that a lot of these influencers have no business adopting animals that they're not prepared to take care of for life. Teacup pigs like Pearl can grow up to 200 pounds, and that's something that that Logan would have needed to take into consideration before he made the purchase. But as messed up as this situation is, the 27-year-old is currently battling accusations of conning fans with an NFT crypto scam. Apparently the game was pitched as a way for people to earn passive income, but literally everyone who invested ended up getting bamboozled, where players were supposed to buy an egg using the game's tokens. This egg would then hatch into an animal that they could then breed with another one to make a hybrid, which they would then sell. But the only problem is the game never worked. Users reported that they could not make transactions or cash out, and said that the valuable animal hybrid tokens were actually just photoshopped stock images of animals. Logan eventually gave up on the project and straight up abandoned it. Now it looks like Logan is finally being made to answer for his alleged crimes. So what do you think about the latest news? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. And lastly, what on earth has Logan done to his... The Animal Sanctuary put him on blast in a...